Most people have what's called the will of a hero, summoning them to such a higher grade than they could ever imagine, calling them like a siren song out in the distance. For one young boy, that proved to be true. He always wanted to be something better than himself. He always imagined himself as something bigger. He always saw himself as a superhero. There's only two problems with this situation, of course. One of the fact being that he is only 10 years old, and the other fact that he's in control of the most powerful object in the universe, and he kinda doesn't know what he's doing or how to do this properly. Yeah, but the universe doesn't need to worry because they're in safe hands with this young boy. Who is he? What is he? What exactly does he do? Well, these are the tales that came from us long ago. The tales of one boy who would be known to the world as. Greetings, kids and nerds. I'm Ladies Universe and White Nerdy, and we are checking out Ben 10. Not the entire series. No, we were just taking a look at the first 3 episodes from the original run, which had turned basically 20 years old by this point. Now, to be fair, Ben 10 actually did turn 20 years old way back in December of last year, but the series didn't really kick off until basically 2006. So, happy 20th year anniversary to Ben 10. If you remember back in January, I talked about one series that I have never seen before, Ben 10 Omniverse, and I thought it was okay. Like, it wasn't great, it wasn't nothing spectacular, I just thought it was okay. And after watching the series, it's okay. Nothing big, dramatic, or impactful. It was okay. It was fun. Review over. So we're gonna go back and check out Ben 10. Now, most people, and I've told this before, but most people know that I'm a big fan of Ben 10 Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. But does that mean I hate the original series? Absolutely not. I had a blast going back and watching the original series again after I bought this box set. So we're gonna take a look at the first 3 episodes of Ben 10. And then there were 10, Washington, B.C., and the Kraken. So, speaking of Kraken, let's get cracking, and let's see if 20 years later this series owns up. And in case anybody's wondering if they want to order this box set, I remind people I paid $300 for this thing. Yep. I'm just gonna let that sink in for a bunch of people. I don't know if the price is cheaper now, but it was $300 when I ordered this. Just to remind people, this is what the box set looks like. Anywho, let's dive into Back to the Past and see what treasures can unfold for us, and let's see what secrets lie within the Omnitrix. This is the first 3 episodes of Ben 10. So happy 20th anniversary to Ben 10, and let's get the party started. This is Ben 10. Our story begins in space with an epic space battle as a spaceship is being hunted down by the mercenary himself, the terrible Vilgax. Enough of that, though. It's summer vacation, and Ben Tennyson is just on his way to celebrate his summer vacation off from school, and thus he is excited to begin his long summer vacation of freedom. Or so he thinks until he realizes with his grandpa Max that his cousin Gwen is invited alongside for his trip. He thought it was his Ben Henry grandpa, but he'd been fooled. And neither Ben nor Gwen is happy that they're going to be vacationing together. And even what's more boring is that Gwen does not want to spend any time with Ben as much as he doesn't want to spend time with her. Later on that night, when it comes to dinner, they don't want to eat what Grandpa Max had to offer. They decided to try to make their money last and the food last, but alas, they could not. Back up in space, Vilgax thinks that he has the Omnitrix captured, or just so he thinks so, but it turns out the person actually tricked him and blows him right the hell up. As out exploring the woods, Ben comes across the Omnitrix, a device that was launched straight from the space shuttle, and thus he was standing right next to it, so of course it attaches itself onto him. So Ben, being Ben, tries to fuck around with something that he doesn't understand, but yet he decides to play around with it and decide, well, what's the worst that could happen because of this?
What the fuck just happened?
So by fucking around with something that he doesn't understand, Ben transforms himself into Heatblast, voiced by Steve Bloom, and he had no idea how or what he just did. That is until Ben decides to be an even bigger idiot and start a forest fire. How? By practicing with the powers he's yet to understand.
Oh my god, he's an idiot.
That is until Gwen comes along and tries to save the forest, but also notices that Ben is not Ben. He transformed into a giant fire-breathing, attacking alien. As Grandpa has an idea to start a backdraft. If it works, then the next new fire would burn out the already extinguishing fire, which of course Ben tries it, and it does work. Ben is confused about this, but his grandfather states to him that they will help him out no matter what he's going through, and maybe, just maybe, all three of them can understand what the hell this thing is. But Benjamin, still being Benjamin, especially a 10-year-old, keeps playing around and fucking around with a device that he does not understand, and so thus he transforms himself yet again. As Ben transforms into a new transformation, Wild Mutt. And of course Ben is blind as all can be, even though yes he can see with his side eyes, but even still. However, things don't go Ben's way when he's suddenly attacked by a bunch of alien spacecraft sent by Vilgat. Even though he managed to take them down, he's still having a bit of a problem and an issue. Ben later on transforms into one of his all-time favorite transformations, Diamond Head, and decides to go after a bigger robot that's attacking innocent people to get after Ben. The two have a pretty epic fight. It's a pretty big thing that ends up happening, especially just in the first episode, with Ben and the alien going after each other and trying to figure out whose skills are the best. It's right here in this episode where Ben proves his worth. He proves that he's much more than just a kid. He proves that he's a hero, especially when he does his best to save everybody that's in danger. Our first episode ending upon Vilgax saying that he will arrive to Earth, that he will find this one called Ben Tennyson, and he will rip the Omnitrix straight from him. Our second episode begins in a house fire with the place burning down upon a mother and child, until they ended up saved, of course, by Ben as Heatblast. But of course Ben trips and them in, where else? Washington, D.C., where they ended up chasing after a bunch of, well, bank robbers, especially after stealing a whole bunch of jewels. And we find out our enemy of this series, or the second episode, Dr. Animo, a man who basically experiments on mutating animals into their, well, supreme form. The landlord tells Animo that he's finished, especially since he hasn't paid his rent in a certain amount of time. But Animo tells him off and tells him that, well, he can just fare off and fuck off away from him. And Animo means it too. He tells his landlord, well, guess what? Since you want me out of here, I'm gonna feed you to my mutant frog. Seriously. While out shopping with Grandpa, Ben and Gwen try to tell Grandpa, hey, we should get some real food, as Benjamin puts his watch to some evil usage by looking for Sumo Slammer cards. Ben thinks that he earns an award for being such a good hero, but as Grandpa points out, he didn't really do anything, so why does he deserve an award if he just fought for everybody? Things are made worse when Dr. Animo attacks the store and turns things into mutated forms, such as like a mutated hamster and a mutated peacock, because that's normal. At a museum, Ben fights against both a Tyrannosaurus Rex as well as a woolly mammoth, and if that doesn't tell you how awesome this series gets, you be damn wrong. So Animo, on top of Tyrannosaurus Rex, goes after an award that he thinks that he should have won, as Ben, as Stinkfly, tries to intervene and stop him at all costs. Until Ben had to learn a lesson of a hero, go after something that he wants, or become a hero and save everybody, and of course he chooses the hero's path as to save everyone. So Ben smashes the award, stops Animo, rips his helmet off of him and takes it as a trophy, and Animo is defeated and thus taken straight directly into prison where he belongs. Our third and final episode begins in the swamps of, I guess, Louisiana, where the team is going to be staying, and thus they hear the legend of something as a swamp monster. as Ben makes up a fish story, more or less, and he tells Grandpa and Gwen that he was just attacked by a sea monster, which of course they don't believe him because Ben sometimes makes up wild tales. Grandpa Max and Ben go upon a fishing trip with an old fisherman who knows everything about this swamp creature, or this kraken, and he wants to capture it. As they're stopped by some wildlife perseverers, as they want to save the environment and they want to keep everything fresh and clean, especially in this new environment, as thus the kraken is around. But Ben notices that the kraken starts attacking, and, yeah, sorry for that rhyme, but yet the kraken does attack as Ben has to save everybody very quickly and accelerate. The kraken single-handedly starts attacking the environmentalists, which Ben had no idea why or what the reason would be, so thus he saves them, but he thinks that there's something up with these wildlife conservationists. Ben sneaks out with the guy that's trying to hunt down the kraken, and as we find out, yes, the wildlife conservationists are actually the bad guys of this episode.
I'm sorry. I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
The environmental conservationists want to take the egg and put it in a zoo because they know that the kraken's a rare species and that a bunch of people would pay good money to see it. What's more so is that they have a bunch of buyers lined up to buy the egg, and thus they're going to come back to the nest to steal the rest of the mother's eggs and thus make a huge fortune off of it. So Ben tries to save the innocent captain that turned in Stinkfly, but of course he is attacked by the resistance of the environmentalists, the fiends. Ben tried to plead his case to his Grandpa Max and especially the captain, as Gwen finds out, yeah, Ben's telling the truth, the environmentalists are not actually environmentalists. And as such, Mommy attacks when she finds out her babies are in trouble. So as such, everybody starts attacking the kraken, except for Ben as Ripjaws who tries to help her. It's a battle for the eggs as Ben tried to help the mother out as best as he can, but nobody's gonna let those eggs go down without a fight, and Ben is willing and worthy to fight them back. I'm kidding, the captain's fine, even though he tried to attack the kraken with a knife and she tried eating him until Ben kind of saves the captain's life because I guess he deserves it or something. Not before Ben knocks the motherfucker right out as he deserves and leaves him hanging for the police to find when they come. And as luck would have it, they just do, as Ben ends up saving the family. As the episode ends and the captain realizing that his treasure will always be out there, but we get the happy note knowing that Mom is finally happy, reunited with the children. And so that was Ben 10, the first 3 episodes, and it still holds up to this day. Yeah, you might think that's goofy. It is. I mean, it was the late 2000s where everything was goofy. But to be fair, it was pretty damn worth to watch and pretty damn worth the nostalgia, and it was really great to welcome it back. Back when I was a kid in 2006, every single one of my friends was talking about this series, so it paid no attention that it does deserve it. The different aliens that he could transform into was actually pretty amazing. But if you want to know the origins of Ben 10, where he might have came from, I will pin a very interesting video that Comic Drake did in the comments down below. Go and watch that video. It is completely awesome, and it will change the way that you look at Ben 10. Even though the first, Ben 10 was kind of like goofy, there are some decent episodes in it. I'll do a top 10 at some point. But I have to say that the writing and everything does get better when Ben 10 switches into a 16-year-old in Ben 10 Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, which was mostly written and handled by the great Dwayne McDuffie. Yes, the same guy that created Static Shock. But as it stands, the original Ben 10 is worth it. It has a damn good impressive voice cast, a really damn good animation-wise cast, especially with the man of action behind it, the same guy that brought us a lot of classics. Mostly, the last thing that he brought us was Big Hero 6 for Disney, and for that, I will always appreciate the man. And he has been one of the biggest names, especially at Cartoon Network, despite some of his projects either being cancelled or they've been forgotten. But for Ben 10, it's definitely worth it, and 20 years later, it still holds up. So if you want yourself a piece of nostalgia, or if you want to introduce something new and exciting for your kids, please do check out Ben 10 wherever that you can. It is awesome, it's amazing, and your kids will love it, and they'll love all 10 alien heroes that Ben can transform himself into. What else can I say? But it's a classic, and you don't mess with the classic. Even though Ben 10 does get better later on, his first footsteps and his first origins and beginnings are important to everyone. Never forget a superhero's origins, and check out Ben 10 if and where you can. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload, and follow me on Twitter with a link to the description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in the universe. I want you to keep it on. And tell me in the comments down below, what is your favorite Ben 10 series, whether it be the original Ultimate Alien, Alien Force, Omniverse, let's just start a little discussion in the comments down below. And from the original series, which is like on my t-shirt, for example, who is your favorite alien from the original series that has showed up? Let me know in the comments down below. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in the universe. I want you to keep it on. Happy 20th anniversary to Ben 10, and check it out if and when you can. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in the universe. I want you to keep it on. And until next time, as always, take care.